name is Andrea Rowland. He kind of already introduced me, so that'll take up some of my time. I won't have to speak as much. Today I'm presenting on my project, Phonics VIP. I'm a second grade reading teacher at Louisa East, as he said, and I've encountered several problems over my years with teaching that students have. Today, if you'll indulge me, I want to play a little game with you. And I'm hoping it will demonstrate to you one of the problems that our students have with reading and phonics instruction. This game, basically, it's a memory game. I'd like you, if you can, to repeat as many cards as you can in order with me. You guys up for that? All right. Frankenstein. Jack-o'-lantern. Frankenstein, jack-o'-lantern. Haunted house. So Frankenstein, jack-o'-lantern, haunted house. Ghoul. Frankenstein, jack-o'-lantern, haunted house, ghoul. Dracula. Frankenstein, jack-o'-lantern, haunted house, ghoul. Dracula. Witch. Frankenstein, jack-o'-lantern, haunted house, ghoul, witch. No, Dracula, witch. It's difficult, isn't it? Mummy. Frankenstein, jack-o'-lantern, haunted house, ghoul, Dracula, witch, mummy. There are 20 cards in this deck. I'm not going to go through them all, but can you see how hard it would be to remember maybe the second card by the time I got to the 20th? We are asking students every day to do this with phonics skills. Our phonics series, the way they're set up, most reading series in our instruction, is a systematic, explicit instruction. We teach 1 to 2 skills per week, phonics-based. And we'll spend a whole week with decodable readers. We'll spend the whole week breaking down those sounds. We'll use them for spelling. We'll use them for everything in that class. We assess them, and we'll move on to the next one in our series, the next one in our unit. And unless our student has been targeted for RTI or an intervention, or they've encountered that skill again, we don't directly instruct that again. Also, with 20 cards in this deck, could you tell me what the 30th card was? I didn't show it to you. Our students are getting exposed to sounds and skills that they've never been exposed to. They're encountering those in reading at the beginning of the year, and I haven't taught on them maybe to the last week. I believe that this is one of the reasons that we have such a huge gap in literacy with our students. So for this grant, basically I'm targeting phonics instruction. I'm going to change that systematic instruction every week that I'm using, and I'm going to do a holistic approach. Every single day in my class, we cover every sound skill that I will teach for the entire year. We will use flashcards. Well, I'll tell you all the different ways, but every day, every sound. They have exposure to at the very first day of school, they've been exposed to the sounds I'm teaching the last week of school. They're getting them all every day. It's taken me I've already started implementing, it's taken me about 20, 25 minutes a day of my routine, but I've already started seeing great growth. I have a 3-step system that I'm going to be using for implementing this holistic approach. First, we do flashcards every single day. Now, I'm kind of old school and mixed. I'm unorthodox, at least. I did not pick one set type of flashcard. I liked Katie Garner's Secret Stories. I don't know if any of you have seen those. They have a whole brain gesture and a little story that go with every sound. So my students really respond when I do gestures and whole brain things. So I kind of combined Katie Garner's whole brain Secret Stories with a Michael Hegarty phonemic awareness plan. So every day we'll go letter is, sound is, and we'll go multiple sounds. A lot of my students came in the beginning of the year and did not know why I had 4 sounds. To be honest, last year I didn't know. I mean, I knew, but I didn't look at why and go, yeah, I, E. And so that's something our students are really not specifically instructed on once. So every day we go through every sound, every skill that I teach for the whole year with flashcards. And for the grant, I use the funding to pay for individualized flashcards for every one of my students. I'm making them. I've also set up 2 data parent nights to come in for my parents and model how I use these every day so that they can use the same stories, the same gestures, and they can get that daily repetitious practice with me and at home. So that was my first stage of implementing this. The second approach I'm going to use, or method, is I'm using Michael Hegarty's phonemic awareness. It is a big old book. Basically, I'm a second grade teacher. I'm supposed to be focusing on comprehension and some phonics, but I noticed that my students have a pretty large gap in phonemic awareness. And over the years, I've noticed that many students have had this gap. They are not able to isolate, manipulate sounds. Most of our kids aren't able to rhyme. And so this is about 15 minutes. I combine it with my flashcards plan that goes through every day. And we isolate sounds, we look at rhyming, and we do these little motions. It's also whole brain, and my students get to practice every phonemic skill every day. And so it goes through 10 categories every day, and that is the second part of my holistic approach. And then the third thing I'm using is Moby Max. I wrote the grant for 3 Chromebooks. I am sending those home for parent and student checkout for individual practice on Moby Max every weekend and after school. And then I will be using those same Chromebooks and my classroom computers for daily phonics practice on Moby Max, which is that computer-based program that I can assign specific phonics skills per day, or they can follow a individualized learning path. My goal is to take this holistic daily review, add it with the systematic instruction that we already do every day, and close that gap in student literacy. One of the things I found researching that shocked me was that 40% of working age Kentuckians are either not able to read or reading below or at an 8th grade 9th month level. I'm thinking about my daughter who's in 7th grade, and if that's as high as she ever gets on reading, we've got problems. But there's 40% of Kentuckians, and that's pretty well where they're stuck at right now. That's where they're reading at. We have to close those gaps. We have to figure out an approach to teaching, I feel like, that gets those phonemic awareness skills and give students those phonics skills that they need. And many times in the new building I'm at, I've heard teachers, 3rd grade and so forth, saying, if you could just have them to read. We can teach close reading skills. We can teach skills for understanding text if they could just read. And so this year, I'm targeting that with this grant. I'm working on hopefully closing those gaps, building that strong foundational base with my students that they can read. And when they get to 3rd grade, I'm hoping that they'll be able to go and learn those skills and run with it because they know how to read. And I'm hoping to change some of that statistics. I'm hoping this is something I can try, and if it works well, implement every year and change some of the statistics. We need more than 60% of Kentuckians being able to read better. Do you have any questions? Yes. Oh, you're fine.
I love your project. I was wondering, since I know time is always a big issue in the classroom. Is there something you're sacrificing in order to spend so much time on?
With this, I've used this as kind of my morning routine. So I've kind of had to get rid of my seat work. We come in, we go do a little bit of handwriting, we go straight into this. It's taking up about 25 minutes a day. So my whole group reading instructions shortened. But I feel like my whole group is focusing on comprehension, reading strategies. They need the phonics more. They need that foundation because it's not going to do me good to focus on the skills if they can't read the text. And right now I'm sitting with 45 students, I have 25 students who are reading on kindergarten or a 1st grade level, pre-primer, primer at the START assessment. And so they're still taking tests at early literacy back for those baby skills, knowing alphabet and sequence. And so this is something I'm hoping will close that gap and get them ready to read. So yeah, I'm sacrificing a little, but I'm hoping it's for the greater good.